David Medansky, as you can see, is the healthy guy. Maybe not always the healthy guy, maybe not in the past, but he is today. And he really works on not only making individuals healthy, but he works in the corporate space where it is so needed. Uh, Especially with people working at home now, they can go to their pantry and choose whatever they want to eat whenever they want to eat. And people that aren't healthy in the workspace, they have more illness. They have to make more doctor's appointments. They spend more of their income on things that are health related, and they don't have as much income to spend on the things that they want. So it really is an employee's responsibility to help their employer's responsibility to help their employees really gain good health. So we are so happy to have you here today, David, and we really want to know your journey and how you became the healthy guy. What happened to make you do this, and especially in corporate wellness? So welcome, David, and we are going to
Yes.
hear from you.
Well, thank you,
Yes,
Judy. Thank
Judy,
you.
can you just pin him, David, just for a second? Just Judy, can you highlight him, David?
Yes, I'm actually doing
Yes.
that.
The health guy. We need to see the health guy before we hear him, right? And we are patiently waiting. The Santa Claus thumbs up. Fine. You need to go now. We want the health guy, David, to be here. I'm excited. I'm ready to take notes, David. I've got my notebook and my pen because constant learning is my golden rule. And that is one of my mantras in life. I always tell people constantly I'm looking for ways to become a better version of who I am. That's the way to grow and be in life. Judy, are we ready? Should we ask David to start?
Can everybody see David?
Can you pin him? And he should be in the middle of the. No,
He's
okay.
pinned.
Okay.
Okay. David, go ahead, my friend. Then.
All right. Well, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was fit and trim and very healthy. However, like with most people, life gets in the way with family obligations and work responsibilities. And before I knew it, I stopped exercising and I started to eat more convenient foods and fast foods, and the weight crept up on me. I got my wake up call in July of 2016 at age 61 when my doctor told me, based on my lab results and that I was fat, I had a 95% chance for a fatal heart attack. Now, normally being the 95 percentile is a good thing unless it's a death sentence. So the next 4 months, I shed 50 pounds, which was 25% of my total body weight. More importantly, I've kept it off. And then 2 years ago in June of 2022 at age 67, I hiked up Mount Kilimanjaro. So I don't let age be a factor or people saying they're not ready to be healthy, because you're never too old to start improving in eating habits and um, being physically active. What I did is I went back to my books from the 1977 or 1970s by Paul and Patricia Bragg, Jack LaLanne, Richard Simmons, William Duffy's Sugar Blues, and others. And I started reading them and I learned that they were talking about basic concepts, things we all know what to do, we just don't do it. Then I started reading books from current authors and they were talking about their products, their programs and methods. And it made it sound like if you didn't invest in them, or their products or services, you'd fail. I thought something's wrong. So I teach what I've identified as 9 simple golden rules for living a healthy life. And I'll go through them and share them with everybody. And that way, when people hear them, they're like, well, I know that. I understand you know it. The question is, are you doing it? And if not, why not? So that's where I help people figure out what the underlying issues are. And then also, it's not so much what we can do, it's what we will do. And that's the difference. So the first golden rule is to drink an adequate amount of pure water. What I mean by pure water is either distilled water, spring water, or water from a 6-stage reverse osmosis system. The reason I say that is because if you ask different experts, they'll get different answers. One expert will tell you one thing, another expert will say just the opposite, and a third expert will say the first two are both wrong. So who or what do you trust and believe? And that's why I leave it up to the individual preference for whether it should be distilled water, spring water, or reverse osmosis water. The other thing is our bodies are 60 to 70% water. It's not soda, diet soda, fruit juices, or milk, just pure water. So why wouldn't you want to give your body what you're composed of, which is water? The second golden rule is to avoid highly processed, ultra processed, and manufactured foods because these are toxic. They're more poison than they are food. And a lot of this started in the late 1970s when they introduced high fructose corn syrup and other additives. And it kept building until the 1980s. And many people don't realize that the tobacco companies own most of the food companies right now. So they hired a person, his name was Howard Moskowitz. He worked in the food industry for 30 years, and his goal was to optimize your cravings for fat, salt, sugar, and texture. And he called it the bliss point. And that's the term they use when they want you to be addicted to their food products. So when they say, bet you can't eat just one potato chip, it's not a dare, it's a fact. The third golden rule is to eat real, holistic, whole foods. So eat the apple, eat the orange. Instead of drinking a glass of orange juice, in my opinion, it's not healthy. Just eat an orange. And the reason I say orange juice is not healthy is because it takes 4 to 8 medium oranges to make a glass of orange juice. So I ask people, would you eat 4 to 8 oranges at one time? And most people would say, well, no. That's how much sugar you're getting by drinking a glass of orange juice. A lot of has no fiber, and so it's just straight sugar going into your system. So you want to eat real, holistic, whole foods and enjoy the foods. The fourth golden rule is to eat slower because we all tend to eat fast. We'll be working at our computers, we'll be driving, going through the drive-through, we'll be watching TV. Next thing you know, the sandwich is gone, the bag of pretzels or chips or cookies is gone. It's like, well, where did it go? Well, you ate it, and I call it mindless eating. So I tell people is to slow down. Mark David wrote a book called The Slow Down Diet. And what he recommends is if you take 5 minutes for breakfast, give yourself 10. At a minimum, give yourself 30 minutes at lunch and 30 minutes at dinner. Golden rule number 5 is to eat smaller portions because a lot of people don't realize that our portion sizes have been supersized. What I mean by that is in the 1900s, the average size dinner plate was 9 inches in diameter. Today, it's 12 inches in diameter. And at restaurants, it's 13 to 15 inches for a serving platter. So it's way too much food. In Europe, a dinner size plate is still 9 inches in diameter, except in the UK. So what I recommend for people is to use a salad size plate instead of a dinner size plate. Golden rule number 6 is to get an adequate amount of sleep, at a minimum 7 to 8 hours quality sleep. And then golden rule number 7, I call it rest to digest. And what that is, it's an intermittent fast. When people hear this, they think starvation or roll their eyes. It's like they don't understand it. Most people are doing an intermittent fast without realizing it. So if you stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed and you get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep, and your first meal is to break the fast, not breakfast, but to break the fast, that's a 12 to 13 hour fast. So that's an intermittent fast. And what I do when I wake up in the morning, first thing is to drink a 20-ounce glass of water because I rehydrate. And also water is a natural appetite suppressant. So you don't need those drugs like Wegovy or Ozempic or other semi-gluten glutide drugs. Just drink water. It's a natural appetite suppressant. Golden rule number 8 is to think positive, because 80% of our thoughts are negative. So imagine if we change it to make it 80% positive. And then golden rule number 9 is to walk each day, be physically active. Walking is the most underrated physical activity a person can do. Rebel Wilson, the actress, lost 77 pounds in a year simply walking an hour each day. Now, I realize not everybody has an hour each day to walk. However, the actress Mindy Kaling lost weight, and what she did is when she had a 10 or 15-minute break, instead of going on social media or texting friends, she go for a 10 or 15-minute walk. So what you can do is break it up throughout the day with a 10 or 15-minute walk. And if you do it 4 or 5 times, you're getting in 40 minutes to an hour. So that's what I recommend. And those are the 9 simple golden rules. So the question is, are there any of those rules you're unable to do? And then the next question is, are there any you're unwilling to do? And surprisingly, when I talk to several people, a lot of them are unwilling to give up their soda or diet sodas. So I find that interesting. So that's the story of how I got into being healthy and wanted other people to be able to thrive and enjoy life to the fullest and be a participator rather than a spectator, so that you can enjoy time with the kids, the grandkids, or even great grandkids. Um, so my goal and mission is to help other people accomplish that. When I talk to people about corporate health and wellness, a lot of companies will have an employee wellness program. And what that means is it's a simple gym membership. Well, a lot of people, number one, don't want to go to the gym. And number two, if they do go to the gym, they don't know how to use the equipment properly. So then you have to pay and hire a trainer, and that gets to be expensive. Or a lot of times they'll hire a nutritionist or a dietitian, and they'll provide meal plans for the employee. Well, a lot of times the person who's given the meal plans don't take into consideration what the person likes or doesn't like to eat. So what I like to do is figure out what a person enjoys eating that's healthy and focus on that, because what we focus on expands as opposed to the things that are unhealthy. And if you're eating something that's unhealthy, what I like to do is first reduce, substitute, and then eventually eliminate. And it's a process. I usually tell people take a year to do this. The problem today is national companies advertise lose 20, 30, 40 pounds your first month guaranteed. Yes, you can lose that much in a month. However, it's not sustainable, nor is it healthy. So that's why I've written several books. The most recent one is Jaded Health. And with Jaded Health, I put in short stories and parables with life lessons. Except with these, I've applied those life lessons to eating healthy.
Awesome, awesome, beautiful, simple rules. I wrote down all of them, David. I think you make it sound easy.
It's easy. It's just not simple
Yes,
because,
yes.
as Judy mentioned, you read the front of the package and it says that it looks like it's healthy until you read the back, which are the ingredients, which is the most important part of the nutrition fact panel. Most people read the fact panels incorrectly. They'll look at the calories, they'll look at the serving size, they'll look at the protein, the sugar, the carbohydrates. Very few people read the very fine print, which is the ingredients. And if you look and read what some of this stuff contains, you wouldn't touch it. The other thing is the food companies are getting smart because they realize, like aspartame, people know it's dangerous, it's not healthy. It's the sweetener used for the diet sodas and diet products. So they changed the name of aspartame to amino sweet. So if you don't know that amino sweet is really aspartame, you're getting fooled by the food companies with their deceptive marketing tactics, and you're thinking, oh, amino sweet sounds good. It must be healthy for me, when really it's not.
There are now 23 names of sweetener. 23. How can we even keep up with that? Right?
Exactly. And the other thing is, I think someone said there's used to be 66 names for sugar. I think it's up to 167 names. Um, Again, if you don't know what it is and you're not able to pronounce it, it's probably not good for you.
That's right.
David, I often say that if you can't read it, you are a literate person. I think I'm an educated woman. But if I, on the label, I can't pronounce that word like you said it, I can read it. It's written so well with all the long chemical abbreviations. And I said, uh-oh. But unfortunately, what has happened with our society, it has gone to almost like ketchup has sugar, high fructose corn syrup is in, and beef jerky. The foods which you think they are, okay, they could be healthy snacks have that HFC there. How do you avoid it? The only way to avoid it is to try, like what you said, the holistic, the real foods more than the
Yeah,
processed one.
exactly. Protein bars. I have a lot of clients that say, are these protein bars healthy? And first question is, what are the ingredients? And when you read the ingredients, they find out they're not healthy. I had a client say, hey, are these kosher dill pickles good to eat? Same question. What's the ingredients? One of the ingredients was white distilled vinegar. And I said, well, no, because of the white distilled vinegar. And she said, what's wrong with white distilled vinegar? Well, when you Google it, it shows that white distilled vinegar is used as a pesticide and also for cleaning. So I said, do you really want to put that into your body? It's your choice. If you want to, go ahead. If not, then that helps make a decision. At least make an informed decision. The other
Exactly.
thing is, the other thing is the average person will attempt 4 to 5 new diets each year, and over a lifetime, research shows that the average person will attempt 126 different diets. What that tells me is diets don't work. And a friend of mine, Michaela Gaffenstone, has a good quote. She says, the food companies will get you sick, big pharma will keep you sick, and the diet and weight loss industries are aiding and abetting both of them.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I love that one. Yes, a sickness world, the health, the so to speak. health.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're my friend, absolutely right. But then it's the choices, it's the lifestyles. If you, it's your choice. It's so difficult if you say, if I'll tell you right away, don't have soda pops, because if you're addicted to the cokes and the monstrous drinks and all that, it's so difficult. I always say, okay, maybe instead of the whole can, maybe just throw away half the can and just drink a little bit, replacing it with water. It's a
yeah.
beautiful thing. But uh, some people, in my own family, my husband says, I don't like the taste of water. I said, oh my God, I love drinking water. The point is, we are all slaves of our tongue. We all are slaves of our tongue. We like certain foods the way we've been used to, the way as kids, what we got used to it. So it's the choice. David, once you choose to be healthy, then you need to talk to the health guy and follow the 9 rules which you laid off very nicely. Judy, what do you say? We open the
Uh,
floor for. Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. Let's open the floor for any questions. I know that Catherine had to step out and she had some questions. So let's open the floor. Anybody have any questions for David?
Unmute yourself. Yeah. So we can. Okay, Catherine had to go. Okay.
Hi,
Tanya,
Jane.
go ahead, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Colette.
No, Colette first. Go ahead. You can go ahead, Tanja. Go
No,
ahead.
it wasn't really a question. It was just a confirmation, David, because I'm a cancer survivor and I learned all about everything that you talked about, right? How high fructose corn syrup is probably one of the biggest poisons that we have. It's in most things. You have to start questioning the industry name. You have to also start looking at the organizations behind, and this is what I've started doing, right? And I hate to say it, the American Dental Association, American Medical Association. Start looking at the associations, and a lot of times these associations, you think, oh, it's certified, it's a better thing. No, it's really not. It becomes part of the lobbyist of industry. It becomes part of the money making part of the unattractiveness, right? That there's nothing healthy there for anybody. Nothing.
Exactly. And you're right. Cheerios, I'll call them out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not heart healthy. It won't reduce your cholesterol. And the American Heart Association was paid to certify
Mhm.
Cheerios, which is, a bad product to be
Well,
considered. People read the front thinking, oh, it's heart healthy, it's good for
Yeah.
my lower my
Oh, let me
cholesterol.
give it to my baby.
Yeah.
What a great toddler snack. I know. And this is the issue, right? And there's a lot of this sort of subconscious marketing, subliminal marketing, right? Where people don't even realize it, just exactly what you said. And I will tell you, I have a very good friend that's an army medic. Do you know what the number one healing medicine is as an army medic?
No,
Water.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
Again, our bodies are 60% water. Um, sugar is a drug. People are addicted to it, and it's not healthy for you. And again, it's not the food we're eating, it's what they've done to the food that we're eating. And that's the problem. And people don't realize it. So there's a lot of things I just won't touch. I used to. I haven't touched Pringles potato chips since 2016. I haven't had a soda. A lot of my clients, when they stop drinking soda and maybe go back 6 months, year later, and taste it, they don't like the taste of it. And
I'm
so,
one of those.
yeah,
That happened to me too. I went back and I thought, oh, I could just use pizza. I'm going to have pizza. So I might as well have a soda. And then, oh, it was awful. Awful, awful,
yeah.
awful.
And then if you want to make your water taste good, or for your husband, throw in some lemon, a slice of lemon or a slice of orange, or some, watermelon or fruits or berries. I mean, when people go traveling to exotic places, they always have a big jug of water with fruit and berries in it. Why not treat yourself, and it tastes good and you get all the nutrients from the water?
You're absolutely right. Absolutely. These days, yeah, I start my day with lukewarm water and little lemon, fresh lemon squeeze, and I put a little Himalayan salt there. So
Yeah.
I've started that with my husband now today. He also got a cup of lukewarm water with fresh squeezed lemon, and I did put little honey. My friend Tanya, yes, I bought the local organic honey. For him, I put a little half a teaspoon of honey in there, lukewarm water. I said, this is the way you're going to start your day. Then you can have your.
Yeah. I like to give a plug to Tanya and her honey, because if you're having trouble sleeping at night, a tablespoon of honey about an hour before you go to bed helps you sleep better.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
Wow.
Oh,
That's
wow.
good
I
to
did
know.
not know that. Okay.
So
Colette.
many things that honey and beeswax is good for. So many.
Yeah. And make sure, like you said, organic, proper, because about 60 to 65% of the honey that's being sold out there has been adulterated.
Yes.
A lot of it's not even real honey, it's just chemical. Just like, people buy yogurt, they think they're getting healthy yogurt. It's chemical. It's not really real yogurt. American cheese no longer can be called American cheese, has to be called American slices, because it has less than 50% milk, has the hydrogenated oil in it. And if you leave it out for an hour or so, you start seeing the beads sweat up on it. That's the oil coming out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we want to hear from Colette too. Colette, did you have a question?
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, Dave, you said you were like, you had a 95% chance of having a heart attack. Did you have any blocked arteries, or did you have any blockage in your arteries?
I had blockage, and because I've started eating healthier and exercising, I was able to reduce the blockage. Now, my doctor,
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I was able to reduce the blockage in my arteries.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so my primary care doctor doesn't believe me. He thinks that that's mumbo jumbo. Of course, he likes to prescribe medications,
Yeah.
which I take. My cardiologist looks at me and he says, no, everything's looking good. And he says, whatever you're doing, keep doing. So again, people in the medical profession, a lot of them are very important for emergencies. If you break a bone or you need surgery, or you have to have the right medical person. But unfortunately, there's a lot of physicians that all they're trained to do is prescribe medications rather than using food as a natural remedy or a treatment. And so, like I said, even when I was going up Kilimanjaro, my primary care doctor didn't want me to go, number one, because he was worried about, the heart, but everything was great. And then he says, bring these beta blockers with you. I said, why? He goes, in case you need it for emergency. Again, I don't know if this is true, but in my opinion, I think a lot of doctors get reimbursed or compensated for how many prescriptions they write. And so, I took it didn't use them, got back, threw them out.
Well, I had a stent put in, one stent over the summer. One of my arteries was 95% blocked. I do have some blockage in the others, but not anything, thank God, yet to speak of. And yes, I've been put on all kinds of medication, and I've been on beta blockers for a while. It really, as you probably know, if you've ever taken them, they really calm you down. And my heart rate used to be so high. Resting would be like 95. So now it's good, but I am on a lot of medication. And, I had recently lost 35 pounds. So my weight has fluctuated throughout my adult life, probably since hitting 35 and finishing up having my kids and stuff. And so I haven't been able to go back down to where I was, which is fine for an adult. I was very tiny when I was young. But a lot of it they've said to me is hereditary. At one point, probably like 10, 15 years ago, my cholesterol was 276. And
what were your triglycerides?
The triglycerides have been okay, that I know of. I mean, they never said there was a major problem with triglycerides. Yeah, so they said it was very hereditary. I didn't want to go on statins for a while. I was scared to go on statins because I've heard some horror stories about them. And so, but I did, I'm kind of worried, like maybe I went on them too late or whatever, but I don't know. But I mean, as far as for having that blockage, I feel good. But I do, I have a heart murmur, like a mitral valve. And, I've always felt my stress in my chest. Like I would always, since I was in my 20s, I'd have like palpitations or like chest pains and such. And I've always been looked at, for problems. But so they wanted me to go and read a block. I was very young and I didn't want to. But so I'm feeling all right. I'm surprised that nobody has really told me like, hey, really mend your diet. I don't have a terrible diet. I never really have. I mean, I've eaten my share of junk food through the years, but it's not been excessive. I do like some sweets too, which I know is bad for inflammation. But so that's really what, I'd like to know, like, what's kind of like the best diet. My cardiologist said, well, plant diet would be ideal. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. And she said, well, then Mediterranean would be the second best. And so I'm just wondering what you say about that.
Well, I don't recommend any specific diet per se. It's more of what you like that is healthy for you, because everybody's different. So Dr. Robert Lufkin, who's a medical doctor, he wrote the book Lies I Taught in Medical School. He wrote the foreword to my book Jaded Health. He advocates eating, meat, beef, chicken, fish.
Yeah.
And Ocean Robbins, who was a guest on my TV series, advocates only eating plants. Again, two different experts telling you two different things. So we're all different. We have different body chemistries, different makeups. You have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work. So what may work for me may not work for you, and vice versa. I don't eat chicken, not because I don't like chicken. It's just when I heard what they do to them, it's hard to find, healthy chicken. I eat eggs, the pasture raised eggs. So I'm careful about what I buy on that. I do eat, grass-fed beef. So again, it's the cholesterol. There's a book called The Great Cholesterol Myth. And the doctor's saying that if your doctor's still looking at just the cholesterol, that's dinosaur medicine. The LDL is, could be high, but our bodies manufacture that. We need the LDL for our brain and the HDL. And so it's not the LDL that they should be looking at, it's the VLDL and the triglycerides. So if your triglycerides are good, you don't necessarily need to be on a statin. And they've also shown research that statins don't reduce the risk of heart attack or stroke.
Mm.
My primary care doctor argues with me and says, you're wrong. I have research to show that it does reduce the risk. And so my question is, well, who funded the studies?
Mhm.
And like Tanya says, see who funds, and when you see who funds the studies, they're biased because they're getting paid to
Yeah.
the result that the person wants. So again, you have to be very careful out there. The other thing is, in the 1990s, the average grocery store had about 30,000 products on the shelf.
Mhm.
Today, it's over 60,000.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else. I haven't heard that many new fruits, vegetables, berries, or nuts being discovered in that time. If you go down the aisles, you'll see so many more new products for cereals, for sodas, for chips, different flavors. And that's what they're doing. Again, using chemicals to scientifically engineer the food products so that they're addicting. And when they say you're a food junkie, that's what they mean. You're a junkie,
Mhm.
you're an addict.
Mhm.
And so it's hard to break those things, and you
Mhm.
have to do it gradually. It's not good to do a cold turkey because
Mhm.
on average they find it takes 66 days to create a new habit,
Mhm.
not 21, not 30 days. And that's an average of 66 days. So some people may do it sooner, people may do it longer. It all depends on, what's going on. And the reason I like to do a year-long program is because things come up throughout the year that are unexpected, or holidays or situations, anniversaries, or remembering the death of a significant other or spouse or loved one that may trigger something to cause
Mhm.
you to go back. So that's where I like to be able to coach people and help people and say, okay, what's really going on? What do
Mhm.
why did you decide to drink the soda? Why did you decide to, overindulge and have too much? So one of the funny memes I saw on Facebook, which I love, um, is I was good for a whole year until I saw my dealer outside, and it's a Girl Scout selling Girl Scout cookies. And
Yeah.
that seems, again, very addictive. I won't touch them because I used to go through a whole box of Thin Mints
Hmm.
and want more.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, David. Thank you everyone for your questions. We
Thank
so
you.
appreciate you sharing. David, can you put your contact information in the chat so that everybody can get hold of you afterwards?